college player, been teaching, coaching. What is when you look at player development, I know you're very invested in the way players play from I don't want to use the word holistic approach, but you're really a total person approach.
Yes.
All right, so talk to me about how that kind of formed.
Though people need to learn, kids, junior golfers, I'm going to go golfers, athletes need to learn to play the game, and then the technique comes. So the little things of getting on a golf course, understanding down slopes, up slopes, rough, back left pins, hit in the middle of the green, back right pins, down slopes and bunkers, like reading your lies. Those things, those qualities need to grow as the athlete grows technically and physically.
Okay, so many people want to get a young player playing, and it seems like when you watch a young athlete play, we automatically have this idea that if we can get them to do it right, then they're going to have more success. So are we thwarting their natural athletic ability?
It depends on the right. And so in our world, Instagram, Twitter, swing stuff, right in our mind comes down to technique sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on what right is. But if you swing the golf club really good, very technically sound, that's not going to get you there. You still got to know how to play the game, the lies, the tee shots, how to get this ball out of the rough, how important speed is, how to run processes on the golf course, how to do just simple practice rounds. So I would say that you build the golfer, and then you have the technique piece and the physical piece that's kind of sitting over there, and it's up to the coach and the teacher, the instructor, on, okay, what do we need to do technique, what do we need to do physically?
When you look at young golf coaches that are getting into the game and they're trying to help people, what do you see as the biggest stresses that they have that they don't do, I don't say a good enough job, but they struggle or they are limited with their ability to develop their own portfolio? Teaching armamentarium.
You're, as an instructor or a coach, you are known by how well your players play. That's how you build your name. I think that what I've learned over 20 years of coaching is that we don't separate it enough. We don't look to outside sources, such as you. We don't take a kid and go, okay, I need to spend some time on the golf course with him, so I need to develop a plan where I can. Okay, I need this kid to develop physically, so I need to develop a plan so that he will. And then I need to spend time with the kid technically. I think if young coaches could look at an athlete and separate it, it would be way easier to conquer the mountain, because there's a lot that goes in to building a great athlete.
It's not so much that the one coach does everything.
It gets really tough.
But how do they handle that financially? It gets really tough.
It gets really tough. And that's where the coach can teach a young man, just a normal club professional can teach a young man a lot about reading lies and picking targets. It might not be the greatest, but it can be a lot. A club professional, an instructor, can teach a kid about the basics of golf as far as what makes a ball move and some basic practice strategies. A club professional can do med ball throws. They can get a kid moving better. They can do push-ups. It might not be the greatest instruction physically that the kid can ever get, but if we can look at it broadly, it's way easier to simplify it and build a program. Now, financially, if you're trying to build a world beater, you're going to have to look outside that. You're going to have to go to people like you. You're going to have to go to physio guys that know what they're doing to build them plans. And
so who takes that cost? Because I hear that a lot from golf coaches. It's like, well, if I had an unlimited budget, this is what I would do.
That is a cost that's built into providing a young athlete with a world-class education, and it's nothing new.
So it's easier if you get the general manager of the club to buy into it.
Sure, certainly. But this story's been around for a long time. Jim Gallagher Jr. played at the University of Tennessee, and he went there on a substantial scholarship. He went there in probably 1979, 1980. He starts at UT. And someone walked up to his father, who was the club professional in Marion, Indiana, and said, well, I'm sure I'm happy that your son got to grow up here and it gets to save you what you would spend on a college education. And Senior was quick to tell him. He said, we've spent that amount and more on Jim getting the skills needed to get there. So it's an age-long situation where parents clubs, club professionals, they're going to have to sacrifice to give the next generation the best.
So you've got young golfers in your family. I mean, this is you are a dad and a coach at the same time, and you work hard to separate it. What do you see from the pressures of these athletes and these parents? Because you know them firsthand. So, I mean, it's not like you're doing something you ain't teaching.
Yeah. The biggest lesson that a parent can teach a young athlete, their kid, is that this so-called pressure is never going to go away. You're going to have the pressure to play well enough to get in the future Masters. Then when you get in the future Masters, you're going to have the pressure to play well enough for a coach to recruit you. Then when the coach recruits you, you're going to have the pressure to make the team. Then when you make the team, you're going to have the pressure to play well at the tournament. Then when you play well at the tournament, you're going to have pressure to win the tournament. When you win the tournament, and maybe you win multiple, and you're first-team All-American, guess what? The next year, you're going to have the pressure to play to what you were. When you get out, if you're a two-time All-American, you're going to have the pressure to make it on tour. When you get on tour, you're going to have pressure to keep your tour card. So the biggest lesson for a parent to see is that, look, if you're choosing this way, if this is your gift and you're choosing this way with your life, this is a part of that life.
What do you fear when you see what pops in your head? It kind of scares you when you see youth athletes and that parent dynamic. Because I think coaches, we oftentimes villainize parents. We need to instead empower them and educate them. So what do you fear?
With a parent-child interaction?
Yeah, when you see it. I mean,
interaction?
you're a parent.
Education.
Okay, so what do you fear? You fear that they're not educated?
I fear that they think that at some point they're going to get on top of the mountain, and that's going to be it.
Okay.
And emotionally, that's not going to be it.
You fear that they think they're going to run through a line and the angels will sing and they'll never experience discomfort.
Yeah, the fear, that would be my fear, is that the parent doesn't have the emotional intelligence. And I say that with all kindness. I'm not saying that with any judgment. The parent doesn't have the emotional intelligence to understand that if they choose athletics, and we could say baseball, we could say golf, we could say football, it doesn't matter. If they choose athletics as their primary means, if that is that kid's love, then it doesn't end. It's part of the job.
Yeah. What do you think that young instructors that are coming through the teaching world need to do to enhance their education to be ready for this?
I can say this from my own experience. Get off social media and go find.
Oh, but social media works though, right?
Get off social media and go find somebody that is 30 years older than you and spend the same amount of time that you would spend on social media for that 3 or 4 weeks with that older elder. Find you an elder, find you a tribal leader, find somebody that you trust that's wise and has been around and spend time with them.
Who's yours?
Ben Dole, Rob Noel, Mike Adams, huge guys. I mean, you know, and then what they do is they open up other worlds to you. So you have people like Mark Hackett, Mike Malazia. It's just a world opens up to you. Now you're around wiser people than you. Because I'm 44 years old. I've been teaching full time for 20 years. I don't know what Mike Adams has forgotten.
Yeah.
And so I would spend time with those
What
older
would be
guys.
the pinnacle of your coaching career?
To a point or later?
I don't know.
I think if the pinnacle of a performance coaching career would be making a difference in somebody's life at their highest level, enabling them to accomplish their internal goals. The pinnacle of me as a character in the world of coaching is showing someone who Jesus Christ is and bringing Christ into competition and letting them separate that and understand that, okay, I can go out here and I can be tough as nails, try to beat people to death, and I can still get on my knees every morning and thank my Maker.
Well said.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
that's the truth.
Yeah, I understand that. Where do you see the PGA of America? I'm not knocking the PGA of America. It's not what I'm doing when I'm asking this. You know, there's always this discussion about the teaching side and the coaching side and all that, right? All right. They gave you the opportunity and said we have to make it mandatory, an educational platform for this year that everybody must watch, learn this. What would it be?
How to learn.
How to learn. Develop learners.
Yeah. how to learn, how to develop learners, the patience of learning, the tenacity of learning, the volition it takes to learn, and the patience. And also, I mean, the source of I want to say gratitude, Brett. Well, you know,
stewardship of the profession.
Stewardship.
Yeah, stewardship
Gratitude,
of the profession. Yeah.
And then, you know, like as a professional, from a professional standpoint, you have your athletes, you want them to succeed. I have my athletes, and I want them to succeed. So when I come to you and I have a question, I'm sort of naked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm vulnerable. I'm like, all right, look, I'm having trouble here. So learning how to learn, and then just those emotional standpoints of being like, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be a steward of this, and to understand there's a lot more behind you.
Yeah.
We're standing, like literally, I'm a top 100 instructor. You are. So we get on stages and people listen to us, but we are standing on the shoulders of the guys that came before us.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And so that would be, you know, if you can teach people to learn and you can teach people that,
Yeah.
we're rocking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.